Robert Marzullo here with Ram Studios. Got another video for you today, and this one is a little bit more informative on cross-hatching, digital inking, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that I want to make sure that we address is that you very first, before you get started with this, you have to have a tablet, unless you're going to click around your lines, which you can do, and there's ways to do it with the mouse, but that's not what this discussion is about. We're actually going to discuss how to do it by hand with a tablet. That's what I'm most used to, and then that's what I'm using now. The other thing is to make sure that you get your thick to thin line work going, like you see that I'm doing here. That comes with getting your tablet set up properly, uh, to where you can get a nice thin line with light pressure, all the way down to a thick line with good heavy pressure. And you really want to play with that. Like for my type of drawing, I have it set to firm, and in my Wacom settings, and it allows me to push harder to get my lines, which is better for the style in which that I draw. So you definitely want to figure that out, because for a while there I thought that I wasn't really taking to the digital way of doing things, but after figuring out that my settings were just a little backwards, I was able to get results that I was happier with. So and then I found out that I have a very firm approach to drawing. So I don't have that much of a soft touch, I guess. So there's a little bit of cross hatching there. One thing I want to explain too as I'm doing this, I tend to feather more, where I like to pull the line a few times to get a thickness, and then pull it out thinner like that, and that's called feathering. And I do that quite a bit with my line work. So that's another thing I want to explain, so that you don't think that I'm just making one quick pull, which this is in real time, so you can see that I'm not doing that. But some people think that that's what I might be doing when I'm drawing, and I'm not. So I'm actually feathering all the lines. Now um, I'm just going to go across and do uh, some more traditional kind of comic book line work, and explain to you what I'm doing there. Now another thing that I had to make sure was right for me is software that was rotate capable, like I'm doing right there. Um, so that's another thing that you need to address if you're the type of artist that you create better lines pulling short and down like this, straight with the screen, and you can't do the same thing going side to side, which I cannot. Then you need to address that and make sure that you have a software that allows you to rotate. Now this particular shading is I'm trying to keep these really close together, and it's good to just practice these kind of techniques. Strengthens your hand, for doing this kind of line work. And I start just blending them together. That was a little sloppy right at the end there, but it gets the point across. And then now what I'll do, rotate this back. I'm actually going to shade a little bit of this just to hide that little bit of bad line work I just did. At any rate, and then you kind of do these teeth on the other end, and this is real popular with comics. I'm actually going to do it another way, because that came out a little bit messy. Um, you'll see a lot of guys do it, like say with muscle shading, uh, some of the various outfits. It's real quick and easy to do. I call it like a horizon effect. It looks like you're looking over a horizon as the lines break apart, and then you get those little teeth that remind me of buildings from real far away. So I call it a little horizon effect. But you'll see it in chrome effects and things like that. Some people just use it all across the artwork everywhere. And then you can come back through and again add some cross hatching. Um, Another one that's real popular is kind of like a stippling effect. Now this one I really won't feather a whole lot. I'll just kind of do these all with start off with a harder push, and then release pressure and pull down, and that gives you a pretty good stippling effect. And you just basically start off very thick, and more pressure on the top ones, start lightening up pressure towards the middle and spacing them further and further apart, leaving more white gaps in there. And even lighter and more gaps, and then lighter, and then smaller, almost non-existent little specks to nothing, to the white of the page. And that's a stippling effect, and that can be used for a lot of things. That can be used to texture walls, add grit and texture to any kind of scene. It's also good for doing stubble, like if you're doing a character that has a lot of body hair, facial hair, you can do that. And you basically do it darker in the areas that are rounded away from the camera or the viewer, and that actually helps you create a nice rounded shape on the musculature real easy. So that can be used for a variety of stuff right there. Even power effects, stippling is good for that too. Let's see, another would be, here's a real popular one. I'll go ahead and increase the brush size. I'll just start off with a bunch of dots, random in size and consistency. And you might be able to already tell where I'm going with this. It's most famously known as Kirby crackle, and the artist Jack Kirby that got really famous for doing this, probably invented it or made it famous, one or the other. Really, just if you want to study somebody, that's a guy to study. You'll learn tons and tons of effects and ways to exaggerate proportions and make things look cool, and it's a bit of history there too. You're going to learn about somebody that helped shape comics that as we know them today. So, but this is a real cool effect. You just kind of mix it up with these dots, consistency. It's really good for space kind of looks, spacey, Milky Way kind of things. Powers, um, cosmic power kind of effects. And you generally would start off with more black onto one side of this maybe, and then break it up into white. One thing that I'll do is I'll put a bunch of this stuff down, and then I'll come back with the opposite, the white version of the same pen, and make it pop even a little bit more. So I'll usually get some real thick areas like this, and I'll show you in that portion. You can also do stars like this, but really with something like Photoshop or Mango Studio, you can create brushes and not have to spend nearly the time. I like doing stuff by hand like this. It allows me to feel like, I'm using the digital aspects, but I'm still honing and strengthening my skills and not cheating too much. Even though I shouldn't say cheating, it's not cheating, but it just allows you to feel like you're still hand drawing, that you're a hand drawn artist. I mean, because that's even why I'm allowing myself to use tablets like this, because you are still hand drawing. Some people are totally against them and they act like it's just going to change art and water it down or something, and it's really not. It's just another tool. you know you have to use technology, or lest you be a victim of it. So you can add a lot more detail and make that effect a lot cooler, but that shows you another quick effect right there for powers and things. Let's see what else. Oh, another real popular one and easy to do. You kind of keep the lines the same size here, thickness, and then you just keep rotating the pen. And this is a really good effect, again, for texturing walls, backgrounds. If you're just trying to add some filler in there, you can kind of get away with some of this. And to tell you the truth, I really don't know what to call this. I guess what I would call this is the Pringle effect, because if you look, it kind of looks like a bunch of or not Pringles, I'm sorry, Ruffles. I got potato chips on the brain, I need to go eat, but it looks like a bunch of little Ruffles lined up side by side. Not that I would know what that looks like. I don't line up all my chips. I just As soon as they come out the bag, they go directly to the mouth. That's my interpretation of what this could look like. Ruffles. But that's a quick, easy effect, and you could do this for a variety of textures. Um, I'll do it a lot of times when I'm drawing a scene, and I just want a cool background to break up the monotony. And quite honestly, if I really don't know what I want to draw, I might throw this in and see if it looks good. I do that quite a bit on certain panels. Like if I get stumped, I'll just throw a texture back there, or, some speed lines or something. Kind of some of those I consider more the cheats actually of drawing, but sometimes it comes out really good and it adds a mood to the panel. So that's it. And you can go back through and you can actually grab a couple of the lines and maybe darken them just to give it a little bit more flavor. Just like that. Okay, so there's another one. And let's see, what else, what else, what else? I guess another one that you could kind of look at as line work or texturing is how you would do brickwork. And all that really is drawing in the veins of the brick or the cracks of the brick or whatever, like so. Just kind of always think in terms of, like, I don't know, tree branches. I picture those, or veins in a human body or whatever. So, but this would actually be bricks. So I just kind of draw these veiny shapes, a little bit of thicker line work where the veins meet up and where there might be a little bit of recessed area in the brick. Then obviously you got to show the edge to really have cool looking brick or whatever. So you want to show the stress cracks in the side and something like that. And then I'll usually put a couple little line shadings on the side to make it look more rough, and then some texture lines or marks or whatever. I'll just kind of texturize it. And as far as a light source or shading, on something like this, I just kind of randomly would shade. Just again, I'm just thinking more like texture or whatever. Now if this was the side of it, I would give it a lot more shading. But say this is the face of it, then I'm just going to kind of lightly go in there and add some texture lines and some little specks. And I always think in terms of imperfect imperfect textures, imperfect surfaces. If it's rocks, then it's got little dings and chips and cracks and all in it. Almost anything does. I mean, if you look even close enough at our faces, at our skin, you're going to see all kinds of little divots and wrinkles and cracks, whatever. So you want to keep that in mind when you're drawing different things. That you should always think in terms of texture and imperfections, and that's going to be a cooler little piece for you. So let's see if there's anything else. So I think I've covered the cross hatching, which basically that's just going across it like that. And you got different variations of that. So like you could have, again, I'm feathering the lines. And at the bottom of these, you could do little specks that break off from it. That looks kind of neat. And then you could do cross hatching that's just straight 90-degree angles from the other lines, like that. And again, break off the little lines right there. That's a good texture effect. That looks good on the back of walls in the scene. I guess one last thing before I call it quits is that you can, just like how I took the white here and made the Kirby crackle pop a little bit more with the white dots, you can also come back to something like this, and you just take this white on the side of some of the crosshatch lines, just hit the side of that real quick, and what it does, it adds this little kind of bezel effect. It makes it look like the lines are raised from the other lines. I don't know if you could see that, but it looks highlighted now and adds just a little bit more depth. I'll do it on this one where you should see it a little better. Those are thicker lines. You know, I'm not saying use that everywhere, use that sparingly, but one of the coolest things about digital is that you can so quickly come back with white and add highlights, add another level of depth or texture. Um, you know, try digitally drawing a face and then blacken majority of the face in and come back with the white and draw your wrinkles. It's just kind of a neat look. Um, so yeah, just another little tidbit there. I can't really think of much else. If you got any more textures or effects that you want me to kind of show you with doing cross hatching or shading or line work, let me know. But keep in mind, really the best way to get better at stuff like this is just to open up a page like I've done here and play around and draw, you know, fill up a whole page and then next day fill up another page and just draw all different kinds of textures, you know. Practice drawing your thick to thin lines. um, you know, try different shading effects, like this one's one, if I can get it right, you know, where you just kind of do this quick sweeping lines and then some little, you know, dots coming off it, and then maybe a couple down here, a couple off that. You know, just little things to try different effects to see what looks cool. You know, and that's how you develop your style and shading. Um, you know, another one that's real quick. You just go like this, and you kind of pull these little lines through it like that. You know, it's a good way to highlight stuff. You know. It's nothing special, nothing fancy, but you know, just little things like that you want to just practice with, and you know, see what looks cool for doing your shading and your line work. So hopefully this has helped you. Be sure to let me know what you like, what you don't, what you'd like to see in the future. I think this was in kind of one of my comments, and that's why I pulled it up and decided to do it. So hopefully this helped the person that was inquiring about it. More videos to come. This is Rob from Ram Studios, creator of Blackstone Eternal. Be sure to check out the Blackstone comic book. You can find that on Indie Planet, and there's links to that on my site. Thanks always as watching. Please subscribe and please share and take care. Bye bye.